Hi, I'm Joey. That is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and this is the Vinyl Countdown. This is probably an album that I'm pretty sure everyone has seen the cover of, at least. I mean, even if you're not necessarily a fan of Pink Floyd, you've probably seen this prism looking thing and being like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've seen it in a lot of t-shirts. I've seen a lot of hipsters who probably don't know the first thing about music wear these kinds of t-shirts, and well, you're right. But for those of you who don't know, this is Pink Floyd, legendary English progressive rock band Pink Floyd's, I don't know which album it is, from 1973 though, called Dark Side of the Moon, and it is considered one of the greatest albums of all time, controversially. I say controversially because there are probably a lot of people who aren't exactly into progressive rock who will say otherwise, who will probably say any other album that they're probably going to put in the comments of this video being like, review this one next! And do I think it's the greatest album of all time? It's certainly up there, but it is also an album that a lot of people will also label as overrated. I wouldn't say it's overrated so much as it is overplayed or overheard. Like, whenever someone says the greatest album of all time, most people tend to gravitate towards this album for some reason. And well, it is an absolutely amazing album. I mean, every single track listing on this record has some kind of unique quality to it that was, I would say, fairly unique even for the time that this record was released. It is not only the third highest selling LP of all time, but it is also holding the record of the longest consistent amount of weeks that it was on the Billboard 100. Don't quote me on that exactly because there's no script for this. I'm just going off the top of the dome, alright? This Vinyl Countdown series is not so much a review show of vinyls, but rather just a show where I basically excuse myself to talk about my favorite albums of all time and talk about music, because I like music, okay? Shut up. This is a record that I wanted to get the moment I started collecting records. Just to put in perspective, I started collecting records not that long ago myself, but my father was an avid record player, and once he showed me his record collection, I kind of fell in love with records. And records, I feel, are starting to kind of make a comeback, especially in the past, I'd say 5 years. There have been a lot more people who are like, I want to collect records, and I do realize that I've kind of, jumped onto the same boat as that, but hey, it's cool, what can I say? And the moment I did want to start collecting records, this was the LP, or this was one of the few LPs that I really wanted to get on record. And, well, here it is, right here. Now, there might be a few people who are watching this video being like, Joey, I don't know anything about Pink Floyd. I don't know anything about Dark Side of the Moon. Can you, I don't know, hum the most famous song off of this album, or hum the most iconic song off of this album that perhaps everybody has heard of? Well, you have to understand that Pink Floyd is not so much a band that is known for that kind of stuff. Like, if I were to say one song that Pink Floyd are known for, it would be Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, but that is not on this record. That is on the Wall LP, which I currently do not have, but eventually you'll see a video of it. Hopefully. With this record, there isn't really a standout track, I would say. Every single track on this record is known among fans of Pink Floyd and known among fans of progressive rock, classic progressive rock. But if I were to just say the name of a song off of this record, or really any record off of Pink Floyd's discography, it wouldn't be one of those songs that people would be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that one. Because Pink Floyd are not really known for creating hits, as they are more known for being extremely influential in the music scene. Extremely influential not just on bands of their era, but also bands that are still existing today. They're basically one of the pioneers of progressive rock and progressive rock music in general. And this was the album that kind of shot them into mainstreamism, or definitely shot them into popularity and fame, because it is just, I don't know what to say, it's just a delight to listen to every time. I know earlier I did say that a lot of people find this album overrated, but in all honesty, yes, I do kind of agree to that sentiment. I do believe it's overplayed, but it is absolutely not overrated, because just every track on this album just, again, stand out. There is some kind of different quality to every single track that is like, ooh, I kind of like the chorus on this, or ooh, I kind of like the sound of the guitar on this. Ooh, that drum part is really nice. Ooh, that keyboard solo though. Mwah. And even though each track is different, they also flow together. If anything, this is actually considered a concept album, and every song flows in and out of one another. It kind of fades into the next one, fades out into the previous one. Or the other way around, because I fucked that up. Damn it. The vocals on this are absolutely brilliant. The instrumentation is absolutely brilliant. Every song is just catchy and fun and a good listen, especially if you're high. Not saying that you should be high when you listen to this album, but it definitely helps. If you want to kind of relax, if you kind of just want to let some music play in the background, if you want to, like, you know, every now and then hear some song and then just kind of sing along to it without, you know, not giving its full attention, I think this is like a really good album just to play in the background. And hey, I mean, who doesn't like this album, honestly? You can say it's overhyped, you can say it's overplayed, it's still a fucking great album, no matter what you say. It wasn't just a fluke that this is the third highest selling album of all time, you know, so let's open it up though. So as you can see, the front cover is the famous prism, the light prism, the triangle. The back of it is a prism, but the other way around. Now, a lot of people actually say that, or I'm sure there are a lot of versions of this album that you've seen probably on like the iTunes store and stuff like that, or, you know, just when you see the cover. A lot of people have seen versions where it says Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, somewhere on the cover. But the original album doesn't have anything, it's just the prism. So it doesn't, not even on the spine, there is nothing that suggests that this is in fact a Pink Floyd album, or this is Dark Side of the Moon. You just have to know, just from the cover of this, that this is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Now if you open it up, you can see the inside fold there, having the heartbeats, as that is a pretty common theme in this album. There are a lot of heartbeat segments. The actually album opens up with Breathe, the first version of Breathe, with some heartbeats, and then it ends with Eclipse on some heartbeats again. So I guess that's signifying that, again, like, this album is connected. This album is a repetition of sorts. Recorded at Abbey Road Studios, London, between June 1972 and January 1973. So it would be a 45-year-old album? Yeah, 45 years to this day. Wow, that's kind of scary to think about, isn't it? It's a 45-year-old album, and people are still listening to it. Now, when I bought this, I got a few nice surprises. So inside the first fold, we have some of these papers here. I think they are... Oh, this is actually quite big. Oh yeah, they are posters. I'm probably going to put this up and maybe make it like a backdrop of sorts for the future Vinyl Countdown episodes. But here we got a nice big poster here. Oh Jesus. A nice big poster of Pink Floyd. We have David Gilmour. I believe that's Richard... I believe that's Roger? Is that Roger? No. So I'm not sure. I think that's Roger. Well, that's Roger again. That's Nick Mason, and that's Richard Wright. There was another member, Syd Barrett, but at the time of... Oh shit. But at the time of this album's release, he had already left the band. Hence the Wish You Were Here album was created, but that's for another episode. There's another poster in here. I believe it's kind of the same... Oh, look at that. So as you can see, like, triangles are I guess, big part of this album. You know, the prism, and now we have the pyramids. So that's kind of cool and ambiguous, but I quite like it. It is very Floyd-like. I also forgot, inside the second fold here, we have some stickers that they have of some prisms. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Both of them say Pink Floyd on it. Both of them have like the pyramids on it, which is weird because I don't think there's a track on this LP that says or specifies anything about pyramids, unless it's like really deeply hidden inside the lyrics. Not too sure though. Inside the second fold here, we have the record itself, 12-inch record right here, full LP, two-sided. Track side 1 and side 2. Looks very nice. Again, with the triangles on it. So very nice listen, very good quality. I picked this up at a record store in Vegas. It was near Aki's house. That's where I got a lot of these records, actually. Obviously, I'm not going to play the tracks because YouTube copyright, am I right? But yeah, it's Pink Floyd. It's fucking awesome. Again, would I say this is my favorite Pink Floyd album? Hard to say because Pink Floyd are one of my favorite bands of all time, so I pretty much love all of their albums. And this is definitely up there, but as an album, I probably wouldn't say this is my favorite. I have two contenders for my absolute favorite Pink Floyd albums, neither of which are Dark Side. But Dark Side, I would say, is easily at least my third favorite album. But again, very difficult to say. All their albums are great. This is just one of those LPs that, you know, I think every vinyl enthusiast needs to get. And I always try and get my LPs brand new, just so, like, you know, if you get them secondhand, it's a bit scratchy. They can be a bit scratchy sometimes. Sometimes, you know, it's really difficult to find an album, so you kind of just have to deal with buying it secondhand. But this one I managed to luckily pick up. It was, I believe it was a 2016 or a 2017 repressing and remastering, which sounds fucking awesome on record. So yeah, it's absolutely great. So since this is the first episode of the Vinyl Countdown, the Vinyl Countdown is not so much a review show, but rather just a show where I talk about music, talk about albums that I like, and stuff like that. And vinyls that I bought and give my thoughts on them. So I'm going to give each album or each vinyl that I bought not so much a score out of 10 because I'll leave that to the actual like proper music reviewers, but I will give it a 3-point score, whether you should A, buy it, B, stream it, or 3, don't even bother. What score do I give to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon? I say buy it. It is a great little album. Only, I think, there's not very long again, 10 tracks, but it'll absolutely just fly by, and it'll just make you want to listen to it again and again and again. It flows great, it sounds good, it's progressive, it's Floyd. It was at the peak of their popularity and the peak of their, I guess, creativity of some sorts, or their first wave, or I'd say the second wave of creativity after Saucerful of Secrets. But yeah, not my favorite record, but definitely a great listen, and yeah, buy it. You should buy it. Let me know your thoughts on Dark Side of the Moon in the comments below, and also give me your suggestions on what album or what LP, what vinyl I should feature next on the next episode of the Vinyl Countdown. You can either just comment it to here, or you can tweet at me. It's so weird doing this kind of show because I'm not used to it, okay? I review... If this is the first time you're watching any of my videos, like, at all, hi, I'm Joey. I review anime for a living, but I also equally love music. So, I like this album. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna listen to it at the end of this. So, yeah, my name's Joey. That's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and this was the Vinyl Countdown.